Now, let's take a look at the last section in this WebEx session, and we'll take a look at the asset turnover ratio to evaluate business performance. Now, asset turnover, what I want to take a look at here is I want to take a look at the amount of sales generated for each average dollar of total assets. So really what I'm looking at here is how efficient I am at buying my assets based on the sales that I'm generating. Okay? Now, in this case here, with the ratio here, we're always going to divide my net sales, and we're going to divide that by average total assets. Okay? Now, average total assets being beginning total assets plus ending total assets divided by 2. Now, this is kind of a measure out there of how efficient are we at running our company. Meaning, do we have, in this case here, with a high asset turnover ratio, we're generating a high amount of sales with a low amount of average total assets. That's a great thing. Some companies out there have a fair amount of sales, but they have an ultra high asset base. So their asset turnover ratio is probably going to be lower. So let's take a look at this in this case, for Kohl's 2015 annual report. Now, in the asset turnover ratio here, we're going to take net sales, in this case for 2016 of $19,204, and we're going to divide it by average total assets. So we've got $13,606 plus January 1, 2015 of $14,333, and we'll divide that number by 2. And so I'm coming up with an asset turnover ratio of 1.37 times. Now, is that good or bad? What you really want to do here from Kohl's is compare that asset turnover ratio to past years. Is the asset turnover ratio higher than past years? That's good. But if this current year's asset ratio is lower than past years, then we might want to take a look at the size of our assets, or either that or with the size of our assets, can we generate more sales? And also, again, look at your competitors also. What are your competitors doing? And then compare yourself to your competitors. Now, the asset turnover ratio measures A, how efficiently a business uses its sales to finance its assets. Is it B, how efficient a business uses its average total assets to generate sales? C, how efficiently a business uses its net profit to finance the assets? Or D, how the ending inventory helps the value of the assets? I'll tell you right now, the only one that really makes sense out of this one, this 29 is going to be B all the way. It's how efficiently a company uses its average total assets to generate sales. Number 30, the company had net sales of $204,550 for the year ended December 31st, 2017. Its beginning and ending total assets were $83,200 and $116,500 respectively. Now I want to determine Maple's asset turnover ratio for the year ended. So let's go right to the problem. Let's go right to the answer. Now my asset turnover ratio is going to be net sales divided by average total assets. So again, $204,550 is going to be my numerator. Average total assets of $83,200 plus $116,500 divided by 2. And I'm going to throw all those numbers into the formula, and I'm going to come up with an asset turnover ratio of 2.05 times. Okay? So the correct answer on this one is D. Okay? Well, this concludes the WebEx for Chapter 9. And again, if you guys have any questions on any of this material that's out there, please do not hesitate to email me. Again, some of this material is going to be a little challenging, in particular when you start computing out your double declining balance methods, and perhaps